I'm Jared Craig with the Vet Voice VFAF podcast, and I have the pleasure of meeting Joe Collins today, who's a candidate for California's Congressional District 36. And he has been endorsed by Veterans for America First at this time. So I'm inviting him to speak to you, the voters of California, to explain who he is and to meet him for the first time. So share with us, who is Joe Collins?
Joe Collins is a U.S. Navy veteran of 13 years. I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a business owner, and I really love this country. Um, so that's in a nutshell. That's who I am.
Good, good, good. And how long have you lived in the state of California?
Oh, I was born and raised in California. I'm originally from South Central Los Angeles. Got involved in gangs and things of that nature when I was younger. Our house was shut up in a drive-by. And I finished high school in Texas and I joined the military from Texas in 2004. I served until the end of 2017 and I got out of the military to get involved in politics. And then after the military, I could have went to Texas, but I chose to go back home to where I was born and raised.
Okay. And you answered the question. I was going to say, well, what got you into politics? And it seems like a personal story. How long, when you said you lived in California, South Central LA, is that correct?
Yes.
And you had an experience with the gang violence in your home. And what are you doing, or what is in your platform in your campaign to combat those things, if any?
Well, when you look at gang violence in the inner cities, it's a few common denominators. One is the person that people vote for on a regular basis in these legislative positions. The second is the lack of quality jobs, the lack of quality education, and the lack of a strong positive influence or role model in a community. And that's what I look to be. And this is it's not a black, white, or Hispanic issue because all of those people are in the inner cities. It's about being that strong male role model that younger people can look up to, but also fighting to bring quality jobs and fighting to improve our education in these communities.
Well, first, I want to congratulate you because I believe you've already won your primary, correct?
Yes, we won our
Well,
primary.
congratulations on that. That's a milestone. And now we have the general election. So the voters, they might know who you are. I want to get you on the national stage to get more attention your way. And share with us your platform points as you would like for the people of California and the people of the United States to hear.
Well, we have our 5 point plan, and the 5 point plan is basically getting back to the basics of what it takes to have a functioning society, improve relationships with the law enforcement, financial literacy for people who actually live in a district and across the United States, improved education, infrastructure, and bringing back quality, career minded jobs. We just launched our education initiative like 2 weeks ago, and it calls for increase funding so we can pay our teachers their value, so we can put more emphasis and more money into trade and tech programs in high school, increase funding for special education. We just want to be able to provide our children with a environment where they can constantly learn and they're constantly active, especially so we can get them out the streets. And then we have our energy initiative, which calls for increased funding for research and development into different types of energy, renewable energy, green energy, fossil fuels, and things of that nature. Because one thing that you have to understand is you literally cannot have one without the other. But in order for us to be energy independent, in order for us to be the number one producer in energy, safe energy, transportation of energy, we have to increase our funding for research and development in these areas. And I think it'll make a good point for our economy as we increase the funding for research and development, we increase the job market, we increase our labor unions, we increase our dependency on United States energy and decrease our dependency on foreign energy. It makes us more self-reliant.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in energy independence, and the cost of gasoline, I think, has hit all of us. You being in California, I believe you have some of the highest energy expenses for individuals.
Yeah, we do. I think what California is doing when it comes to energy is just terrible. It's terrible for the economy. It's terrible for the people who live in California, and that's just an example of the piss poor leadership that we're trying to get out of office. We have rolling blackouts. We have times where the governor will say, "All right, it's time to turn off your energy. You can't use anything right now. Our gas prices are among the highest in the United States, and they want to switch over to 100% green or renewable energy, but our power grid does not sustain that. We don't have the infrastructure set up to sustain that. And to be honest, a lot of people cannot afford electric cars.
Well, your opponent in the general election, is he the incumbent?
I would like to think so. Yes, he's been in office longer.
And what has he done to benefit your district that, or what has he not done that you will do to benefit your district and the state of California?
Well, I think one problem that my opponent has is the same problem that a lot of legislative personnel who sit in these positions have. They like to vote 100% with the party, whether it's good or bad, because they think it's going to save them face, and that's not necessarily good. Um, we'll take, Liz Cheney for another example. You have to be able to legislate based on what's best for the people in your district and based on what the people in your district wants to do. As soon as you insert your own personal opinions, thoughts, and feelings into your legislative process, you are no longer a legislator, you're a dictator. And I think that people like my opponent, people like Liz Cheney, I think that's what they failed to realize. We need people who are going to work on behalf of the people and be able to explain your rationale behind the reason why you vote the way you vote. And a lot of legislators don't do that.
Well, prior to running for or to getting into office, what's been your career prior to qualifying for the election?
Well, this is my second time running. I ran against Maxine Waters in the 2020 election, and we have 14,000 Republicans in that district. My campaign was able to register over 50,000 new Republicans, and then they redistricted us next door. So that's how I ended up in this race here. I hold a degree in accounting. See my bachelor's degree right here from the University of Phoenix. I own a company called JT Acquisitions, which is a government contracting and development company, and I also sit on the board of Wilson's Holding Global, which is a global development company. Prior to that, I was in the military for 13 and a half years. I started off as a jet engine mechanic, ended up boots on the ground in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. In 2008, I ran a number one recruiting station and the DFW, #2 in the nation. And then I spent some time in San Diego, and that's when I made the decision to end my military career and get involved in politics.
So you've had boots on the ground. You have roots in the soil. You've got
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, and I say this to a lot of people who are small business owners. You're the scariest thing for a Democratic politician because you're self-sufficient. And I want to thank you for taking the risk and the sacrifice for running for office and feeling the call to make a difference for the better of not just your constituents, and not just those that will vote for you, but those beyond your borders, and bringing a sense of logic and function to it. As an accountant, you have to be accurate way more often than an economist, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people don't like it, especially when people want to talk talking points and you have the common sense plus the knowledge and the ability to run numbers, you just happen to make a lot of sense with it. So yeah.
Well, accountability seems to be the buzzword for this portion of the conversation, and holding people accountable to their oaths of office and to the job that they were, hired or otherwise elected to do. Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure. If people want to volunteer, if they want to come out and help support, make donations, or otherwise contact you for any reason, how would they go about contacting you?
Well, the easiest way is to go to my website, Joe E. Collins, the number 3.com. You can send me a note, donate, please donate, and volunteer. We need all the help that we can get in order to push us over the line throughout the general election.
Well, do you have any appearances coming up that you wanted to inform the people? So I don't take too long to get this content out. So if you have something coming in the next couple of days, the next weeks or so, where could they find you on the campaign trail?
So I'll be here in Los Angeles. Last election cycle, we did a lot of traveling. You know, we raised our name ID. We helped candidates across the country build their name ID and raise money for their campaigns. But this election cycle, we're staying in our district. So you can find me anywhere in the 36th congressional district, from Rancho Palos Verdes all the way to Santa Monica, West LA, Beverly Hills. I'll be in El Segundo this evening at the fair. I'll also be at Mimi's Cafe right after that. I'll be speaking with some other great candidates that are running for office. And, you know, it's going to be really exciting.
Well, I wish you all the best. I know
Thank you.
California used to be a strong Republican state, but it has kind of moved in a different direction. It might be a blessing that you've been redistricted out of Maxine Waters' um, area. So I'll take that. Veterans for America First is proud to endorse you. We support you in your race, and we hope the best for you. So
Thank
you
you.
need it for any reason, you've got my contact information. If you need to contact me for a follow-up interview, or you have some developments that I'd like to hear from.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, have a good evening. Talk to you later.
All right. You as well. God bless.
You too.